before we move on, can I ask a question of my own?
Sure.
Sir, could I ask you about your 4 lapel pins?
Yeah, this is going to be part of the question I want to ask you.
Okay.
My name is Fred Bonig. I'm a Gold Star dad. I have 3 more kids currently serving. And I would consider you probably the biggest hawk in Washington, maybe Lindsey Graham, right? I mean, you'd admit that, right?
I believe in strength and confidence.
Okay, we'll just use that little term. And when I hear that term, and when I hear you speak, all I hear is somebody knocking on my door again. And I only have one question to ask. Can you tell me how long it's been since the last U.S. military combat zone death? Because that's really what it's all about. That's about keeping us safe. Can you tell me how long it's been?
Well, we've had Americans die in Afghanistan this year. I can't tell you the exact time frame, though. I can tell you
58 days, and before that, 58 days ago, it was the longest period, and it was 116 days. And I also asked that question to Adam Kinzinger, who didn't know, another man who called himself a hawk. All I ever asked is a second question, since that's not an important number to you, that when do we get to hang up the mission accomplished banner, and when do I get to get my kids to come home safe again? That's the only thing that matters to me. Can you please answer that question?
there's no definite answer because our enemies get a vote in this process. I'm deeply sorrowful for your loss, and I greatly honor the service that all of your children have rendered, like all of our veterans do. But in the end, I think the best way to honor our veterans is to win the wars for which in which they fought.
We've been fighting in Iraq for 24 years. Really.
And the war there was largely won in 2011 when we withdrew.
2010, there was 5,000 civilians killed that year. We had, 36 of our own killed that year. If there was more people killed in Iraq in 2010 than were killed in 2001. If that's what you consider winning, I don't know. I asked the people in Iraq.
Well, the president has said that in 2011 Iraq was stable, it was representative, it was peaceful. And now we're at risk because we squandered the gains that our troops fought and too many of them died for in Iraq with the rise of a terrorist group like the Islamic State, or the risk of Iran getting nuclear weapons and weapons proliferating throughout the world, of not only having our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines face death on the front lines around the world, but have another mass casualty terrorist attack here in the United States. That's what they're fighting to stop, and I think the best way we can honor their service is not only to remember them, but to ensure that we don't have to face that kind of attack again.
7,000 miles away in pickup trucks. 7,000 miles away in pickup trucks without a military, without an Air Force or a ship to even get there. In this country, we have 90 guns per 100. In that country, it's 6 guns per 100? And we can't win an insurgency in there. Somebody's going to come here and take over this country where we have 90 guns per 100, sir. I think that's just the fact that on the day after you signed that letter, you went and spoke at a defense contractors meeting. It's very clear what your views are, sir. My views are keeping our kids safe, and which include my children. Now that you have a child, you will understand as well when you have to say, the difference between going yourself and sending your child is a much greater thing, sir. And I just think that when you speak of sending our kids again, let's make it worth it, not just to send them to politically help some Halliburton or somebody else to make money. Because 7,000 miles away, riding around in white pickup trucks is not coming here and cutting our heads off or any of the stuff that you guys would like to present out there. I'm just saying.
Well, I think probably the only people who less want to see war than the veterans and the soldiers who have to fight it is the fathers and mothers who fight in it. But at the same time, I wish we could say that a group that was 7,000 miles away and had no Air Force or Navy doesn't pose us a threat. But the threat environment that we face here at home and throughout the West is more grave today than at any time in any of our lifetimes. And that's not just my assessment. That's not the assessment of hawks like Lindsey Graham. That's the assessment of President Obama's own national security and intelligence officials. I wish that weren't the case. And I hope we can look forward to a day when it won't be the case. But for the time being, it is. And we have to remain vigilant. And we have to continue to take the fight to the terrorists on their terrain so they don't take it to us here.
Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for being honest.
Well, thank you for everything that your family has done and for the sacrifices that they have made, which very few other people can ever understand.
Thanks.